Hello lovely, welcome back. This time in the tutorial we're going to get started with the next step. Last time we have covered, the last few parts of the series we've covered how to hold your hook, how to hold your yarn and the tension involved in that. Then we've talked about how to make a slip knot and a chain stitch. Last time we talked about single crochet stitches. Today we're going to talk about half double crochets. So a half double crochet looks very similar to a single crochet in terms of the height, but it's a little bit chunkier in terms of width, so it's a bit more dense, and it's useful especially if you're having a range of different size stitches. This one would be the middle one where you're not going to end up with lumps and bumps. It will give you a nice smooth increase. Okay, so let's get started. Now, I will also say that if you are based in the UK or you use UK terminology, I use US terminology. So if you're following from the UK and you want to use UK terms, a half double crochet would be a half treble crochet. That's the only difference. It's the same instruction, just a different name. Okay, let's get started. So I've got my sample that I started last week, and I'm just going to build onto it. I'm hoping that I end up with a series of stitches so that I can then maybe work them into a pattern. And if you were doing the same, you could do that and make a nice textured cushion or scarf or little cloth, which would mean that you've got your first project done, and it also will look quite nice and textured and not all the same. So little sample. Alright, so to start our row, we do the same as always. We chain one and turn our work. Remember, we're not counting this chain one as a stitch, we're just using it so that it's easier to start our crochet project in the next row. Okay, so dominant hand is still in charge of the hook and the working loop. Non-dominant hand is still in charge of the tension and holding the previously worked stitches. We're going to remember the hook points away from us when it's at rest and it turns towards us as it's getting worked. Okay, so I'm going to insert my hook here and pull through. That's how we did our chain, that's how we did our single crochet last week. We've just got an extra step to do for this half double crochet. That's just one extra thing to do. So before we insert our hook, we're going to yarn over first. Okay, so we'll yarn over, then we'll insert our hook, and then we'll pull through, and instead of having 2 loops on our hook, we've now got 3, and then we're just going to yarn over and pull through all 3 of them like that. So we'll do that again. Yarn over and grab the yarn, insert your hook through both of the parts of the V stitch at the top, grab the yarn again and pull through 3 loops on your hook, pull through all 3, 1 loop left. Yarn over, insert, pull through, pull up a loop and pull through all 3. Let's do that again. I'm just going to release some of my yarn so that I've got better tension. Okay. So wrap the yarn, insert the hook, pull up a loop so that you've got 3, insert all 3, insert, pull through all 3, wrap, insert, pull up a loop, pull through all 3. You can see that, as I said, the stitch size, well, the height is not so different, but the width is chunkier. It's a little bit thicker, a bit warmer, a little bit wider. Okay, let me count how many we've got before I continue. So remember, the first little stitch didn't count, so this is 1, 2, if you pull it apart you'll see it better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've got 4 more to go, because remember I'm always working at 12. With your project you might have a different stitch count, depends on what you've chosen. no matter what you've chosen, always make sure you've got that at the end, unless you're intentionally wanting it to be bigger. Now the last one, then it's there. Pull through. So now I've got 12 there. Remember, just give it a little pull out if you want to see them, see the individual stitches a little bit clearer. Okay, I'm going to work another row now. So we're going to chain 1, doesn't count, turn your work, yarn over, insert through both parts of the V, pull up a loop so you've got 3, yarn over and pull through all 3. Work that again, and again, all the way to the end. Watch again where my hook is pointing. Watch, try and pay attention as I'm working the next few stitches on what my tension is, what's happening with the tension, how is my tension moving between my fingers and my palm, and also what's happening with the hook and the loops. Okay. Did you see it just slid along, the tension just moves. And then you just work your way across, making sure that you are nice and even, nice and smooth. And as I've said to you before, my wrist, my elbows, they're kind of resting. So if you're sitting on a couch, or I would recommend having a little cushion underneath your elbow or your wrist, and that will stop you moving it around, and letting it rest means that you're not going to build up sore wrists and have problems. And I hope you're still working on your hook, how do you hold it, and getting familiar with that. Remember, there's no right or wrong answer, it's just what feels comfortable for you. Okay, so I have worked 2 rows of half double crochet. So I've now got my single crochet rows, I've now got my half double row crochet rows. Next time we're going to look at double crochet, and I'll be adding them onto here, so you'll be able to see the difference in height between each of them as well. Okay, let me know how you get on with the half double crochet stitch. Let me know what you're using it for, if you're getting more confident with it. I'd love to hear your thoughts, I'd love to hear what you're working on, and if you've got any other questions that you want me to cover, please leave the information or your ponderings in the comments below, or get in touch with me through all the social media channels. You can visit the website as well, and there's lots more tutorials to be clicking in to have a look at. If you wouldn't mind liking or subscribing and all the usual things, just to help my channel grow and reach more beginners and more crocheters. Okay, thanks lovely. See you next time.